Martin Popoff from the Contrarians back again for another episode of Reliving Old Reviews as a Useless Tool of Confusion. This is the show where we look at an old review and see if the writer got it right, boots on the ground of an artist or a band that got legendary over time, kind of thing. And I always find it interesting to see what these guys have to say and what they can compare these records to at the time. Today we are talking about Ted Nugent, the debut album, Ted Nugent, an album so good they had to name it twice, right? You know, I've used that joke way too many times, but yeah. And I do have a Ted Nugent book. This is Motor City Madhouse, the story of Ted Nugent up to I think it's 2 albums old at this point, but it's a big fat wordy book on the entire Ted Nugent canon. So there you go. You can get that at martinpopoff.com and all my other books. I got about 100 books in print, but that's the only Ted Nugent one. And yeah, so Ted Nugent. So this is the debut solo album after, roughly 3 incarnations as the Amboy Dukes. He's had a long career up to this point, lots and lots of albums. So this is the debut. I remember getting this as a new release, loving the heck out of it. Saw him in concert shortly thereafter. So this is a review from The Enemy, the New Musical Express, June 19th, 1976 by Max Bell. So let's see what Max has to say about Ted Nugent, and we shall discuss. Once upon a time, the idea of liking Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes was considered remarkably unhip. Poor old Ted and his boys were the butt of many a knowing jest, usually based around their supposed ineptitude and crass handling of some of rock and roll's more simple trademarks. I always liked the Dukes myself. Sure, they were a rotten band, but occasionally Ted produced the goods on schedule and confounded his critics by revealing some potential lurked beneath the morass of Detroit's sick grunge. Whoa, he used the word grunge. That's pretty cool. That's kind of legendary. I'll have to put that into my whole nomenclature of the use of the term grunge. I've never seen that before. And it's funny. He does talk about them not being a very good band, and it's kind of true in a way, right? I mean, they were kind of a good psych band, but you get into that survival of the fittest, Marriage on the Rocks thing, and like, wow, they're a wacky, weird band. I think the 2 albums on Discreet, Call of the Wild and Tooth, Fang and Claw, are pretty decent albums. They're almost like demo versions or blueprint versions for this great Ted Nugent album, right? 1975. Although this review is June 1976. So yeah, a pretty good lag there of getting this review. Marriage on the Rocks, if you ever see it, is something of a minor league classic. No. I picked it up for a few pesetas in a Spanish supermarket 5 years ago, and I've been trying to convert the odd passerby to its manifold merits with not success, I might add. Wow, he picked the worst one, I think. Ted's second period regeneration has been even more fruitful in terms of albums, fruitful in terms of actual success. Call of the Wild and Tooth, Fang and Claw are really fine examples of spreading a few ideas a long way and remarkably dense little numbers in their own way. Pretty neat. Yeah, they are dense numbers, and there are maybe not a lot of different ideas. It's pretty conservative, meat and potatoes, rootsy hard rock, right? Recognition seemed to be a long way around the corner, though, until now. Minus the Amboy Dukes moniker, plus a host of renewed confidence, the diamond-coated Nugent has finally cracked the egg and got on the good side of his public mirage. Nice writing there. If you say you like him today, no one will show you the closet. Times change. Well, times have really changed, because if you say you like him today, yes, it's fighting words almost, right? He's one of the most divisive artists of all time because of his extreme right-wing views, right? For those who listen, Stranglehold, the 8-minute extravaganza opening side 1, is a veritable melee of guitar prowess, killer riffs, and stirring 7th wave crescendo chords. Absolutely true. The replacement of Vic Bologne's Mastriani by Cliff Davies has added another dimension to the rhythm section, an area of Ted's entourage which was sadly lacking sparkle previously. Here he's left to his own devices, migration acts laid on thick and slow, moody charged energy. He is working the same territory as John Cipollina and Gary Duncan, a vintage string of cavalry, bugle call, and response mechanism that leaves most competition flat on their respective floors. Yeah, that's a pretty weird reference. I don't think he's particularly in that zone. But again, what I love about doing these episodes is just the bizarre comparisons you have to make because there's not much to compare things to. I mean, obviously, you could have been comparing to Aerosmith or Kiss at this time or Blue Oyster Cult, but yeah. Pretty strange. The final spiel from Ted on death is a superb advert for his own madcap excess. Muscular showmanship from a man who fights off assassin squads with a brush of Gibson drenched buckshot. Pretty nice expressive writing there. Stormtrooping, Nugent's knowledge of the English language doesn't encompass the letter G, continues the American high-frequency signal destroyer. Laid back is not a term often found in Ted's handbook. Davies' heartbeat, slick rock percussion, Rob Grange foil bass, and Derek St. Holmes' additional rhythm guitar all undercut the main man who makes every British flash outfit sound old and tired. Kind of true. At this point, it's the sunset of the British rock thing, although we are getting a new wave with the likes of Thin Lizzy and UFO rising, to prominence, and then new bands like Judas Priest and Rainbow. So there's like a second wave happening in Britain, but all the original wave is getting old and tired, certainly compared to this Ted Nugent album, which is a great, energetic, well put together, well sequenced, well written songs album. Large doses of chauvinistic macho Spitfire dribble all over the disc. Lyrics about guns, arson, nothing too nasty except the vocals. Now, an HM group is only as good as its vocalist, and here the boys fall down with the occasional thump until Nugent hauls them up again. Hey Baby owes a whole lot of free, and they're a whole lot too free, and their ilk through it, though it lacks Rogers and Co.'s mastery of the on-off motif. They don't so much stop and start as never let up. Gets a mite wearing after a while. Strange comparing that song to Free. I don't hear a lot of Free in it. Just what the doctor ordered is a similar slice of frontline boogie, nothing unusual, but guaranteed to get any alive audience in the world tearing down the walls. If they'd had Nugent at Jericho, the fracas could have been over immediately. He makes some acceptably horrible noises. On the other side, Snakeskin Cowboys, what a flair for the catchy title, is directed to the front stage murder platoons who dig this sound in the Midwest and South where Ted is already a legend. Actually, the lyrics are dreadful, but that doesn't matter much. In the old days, the Dukes battled with such philosophical problemata as why is a carrot more orange than an orange, and it got them as far as zilch, gulch, no paddle. This is a pretty good review, pretty entertaining. Nugent's guitar style is all about eliciting a certain response, probably violent, bloodletting hysteria, and he succeeds in unblocking most frustration taps with his standard block bar rhythm chords. The rock and roll plumber strikes again. Yeah, I think this is a little more sophisticated than all that. I think this is like I say, a well-written album. There are some thoughtful riffs on here. I think the songs are, really nice structure to them, riffs, chord sequences. I think, yeah, it's a pretty sophisticated heavy metal album for 1976, right? 75, actually. Nugent no longer needs to indulge in money-spinning Jack Elam leatherette guitar battles to earn his keep. Recently, the band had been supporting the largest combo in the universe, Aerosmith, to you, more popular than either the Stones or Zeppelin, let me tell you, in the States. Choice indoor gigs like an 86,000 indoor stadium, Detroit Stadium, Hell on Earth, and a lorry load of dollars. Prediction, by the end of this year, Nugent and Bob Seger will have joined the ranks that separate smallish fish from huge monsters. This time, he's sharpening his teeth on broken glass. I think you'd better get Ted Nugent before he gets you. Pretty cool, Max. Very nice review by Max Bell there. And he's right. Nugent is going to be really big shortly, and so is Bob Seger, oddly enough. And they're both from Detroit, right? Because we got the Night Moves album and all that, Live Bullet. So there you go. I think that's a pretty good review. Pretty thoughtful, well written, and he more or less gets it right. He obviously knows his history there as well. So there you go. Let us know what you think in the comments below of this review, my review of this review. You can join our Patreon situation. That gets you onto our panels. We have merch. Hit the like button if you like it. Subscribe. We'd like to get our numbers up there. Go listen to some Ted Nugent. Like I say, I can supply you the only book written on Ted Nugent, I think, by anybody outside of the Ted Nugent family. So there you go.